Hello and welcome to GoodGood Investing. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing so great this week. I am very, very, very much looking forward to our guest today.
I am too. I cannot wait to hear all the details, all the tea.
Are your kids in summer school now? Or not summer school, summer camp?
They are in summer camp.
Oh my gosh, that's so
That's
fun.
very helpful for us as we record our podcast.
Yes, definitely,
So
definitely.
no interruptions. But yeah, no, things are going great. How about your summer? You've been to
Going
a lot of weddings.
I have.
Yeah.
So we are not going on vacation this summer because we literally have 3 different weddings in 3 different parts of the world. So in a few weeks, we're going to Germany and New York City. And then we came from a wedding last month in Tennessee. So kind of all over the place.
I wish I could fit in your suitcase. Take me with
That would be
you.
fun. That would be fun. We'll do a good trip sometime soon.
We have to. Yeah. Maybe we'll meet our audience in a different
Oh, that would
location.
be fun.
Yes.
Okay, we'll brainstorm that.
Yeah.
So today we have Karen and Matt Drennan on the podcast, Andrea. And
Yay!
they are, I mean, their story is so cool. I cannot wait to ask them all of these questions about their self-storage business.
Yeah.
So as they like to say, they're in the business of selling air or renting air.
Oh.
So we cannot wait to talk to them about how they've made their money passively in self-storage. So a little bit about Karen and Matt. Karen and Matt Drennan were able to retire themselves from their day jobs about 6 years ago through self-storage ownership. After Matt's successful career as a restaurant VP and Karen's very successful career as an actress, model, and self-described algebra whisperer, they were on the hunt for truly passive income and found the lucrative investment vehicle of self-storage. Hi, Karen and Matt. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
Yes, we're so happy to have you. So, we're going to kick it right off because we are just dying to dig in. Tell us a little bit about you guys, where you're from, where you live, and maybe a little bit about your family, real quick.
Oh, okay. I'm from originally Dallas. I was born at Baylor Hospital. Matt, born in Cyprus, but we wound up in the Dallas area and found each other, fell madly in love. Now 30 years. We've got 3 great kids. We have Nancy, Adam, and Rachel. Rachel, everybody tries to tell me she's my niece, but I'm
Yes, Karen and Matt are my aunt and uncle, but that's also up for debate because maybe my mom sometimes,
okay.
right?
Okay, I wish she was mine.
So wait, are you talking about Cyprus, like Texas?
No, Cyprus, like near Greece.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
Big
wow.
island. Mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so great.
Yeah.
So, you guys were in corporate America. I mean, Matt was at least. I know, Karen, you've done more of the uh, actress modeling, the gig work. But so how does someone make that quantum leap from corporate America or the entertainment industry, and now you're investing in self storage? Tell us a little bit about how you found out about that asset.
Well, there is one other thing that I should throw in there, besides the acting, homeschooling the kids, and then teaching algebra. I have a marketing degree. So Matt has just loved that because I'm constantly throwing out that's not going to work when the public sees it, that kind of thing. So we feel like we complement each other.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Matt, tell us how you found out about self storage.
You know, we started on wanting to diversify into real estate, probably 15 years ago, and thought initially, we would get into some rental homes, and we knew friends that were doing that kind of thing, so we wanted to learn more about it, and we kind of just went on the education, path,
Mhm.
and
This was about 10 years before he even retired.
yeah, and then quickly saw, wow, you can probably, just depending on, I guess your education and in terms of learning more about real estate and everything, and where you want to get in, you can kind of access, you know, moving beyond residential to commercial, in the multi-door thing. And that's where we were like, wow, we didn't really understand how you could scale all that. so fast. So we got into, just
Yeah,
selling homes that we owned, and then
right.
and then
That's what we knew of real
yeah,
estate.
yeah,
But let me tell you, he didn't just boom, oh look here, self storage. He was going to conventions for all these different industries,
I
and
was gonna ask
does
that.
this one
Okay.
work? Does this work? Should we do apartments, which we did some?
right,
And most of the other small things we got into, thinking it might be a big thing, more didn't come out to be so much. And all of a sudden, one day he came home from the self storage convention, and he said, "It's self storage. You won't believe who I talked to and what they said, and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Where? Wow, that's out of the
right,
blue,
right.
But then it's like you said, my motto now is we rent air and space because I mean, there's like nothing to do except you have a third party management company. Now, it is really passive income because you're not doing the day to day stuff. You know, I
And
Right.
think you
and
want
where are
to.
your storage units? Are they close to you, or
The
like do you go and
our
visit
storage
them sometimes?
locations.
Yeah.
Well, we decided to go to Louisiana for a couple of reasons. One is that it was just really too competitive in Dallas Fort Worth area. We tried making some cash offers. Nothing was turnkey. Everything needed to be totally rebuilt. It was trash. It was just not competitive. And then Matt, tell them how we found out about the one in Louisiana.
Yeah. So we started looking really in small markets, and one of the brokers we were working with, who was mentoring us, we went through an education process too, which I think is so important. You mentioned, how do you get from not knowing a lot to this? You got to really, be knowledgeable and be confident about what you want to do. So we
School
took it.
yourself.
We definitely took advantage of that and had partners that helped us. And so we started looking at these small, strong markets and looked
Can
across the
you name
state
a
of
few?
Texas and,
Okay.
small markets. Yeah. And in Louisiana too. So we looked at about a 5-hour drive ring, and looked at all
Mhm.
those markets. And then what we found, and this is where I feel like we really got fortunate. I had learned a lot about that with Applebee's, these small markets where we would build small restaurants for them too. So
Mhm.
there was a point where you knew this was a small, strong market that you could really take advantage of. It was growing and everything. So we looked at those kind of small markets, and Pineville was one of them.
I mean,
And
ideally, we would think, hey, maybe out to Longview or out here, but the our agent came up with. I said, you won't believe what I found in Louisiana, and how turnkey it is. I mean, the guy that mom and pop little place, and his wife had passed on. He was kind of done with it, but what did he do that made it? He was so into security. He
yeah,
was a what did he do for?
he was actually a private investigator for part of his life. And I
The
mean, so he
place
thinks
is
like that,
the
like,
place
hey,
is lit up
nobody's going
like
to break in,
yeah,
nobody's going to do anything. He was really
it's
a really bright guy.
the place is lit up like Fort Knox.
Oh yeah,
People love
Oh,
that
awesome.
security, and everything had a fresh coat of paint, and uh, it was
Yeah, so tell
turnkey.
us, can
Huh?
you explain what turnkey means? Of course I know, but
It's
maybe
like
some of our listeners
um,
don't.
when you come in and you don't have to remodel, you don't have to change the carpets, you don't have to do anything but turn the key, go in, and start operating.
Love that.
and all
That
your
is awesome.
capital, in essence, is just going to running the business, and then it's levered up with your income. So it makes it a much easier, I think, investment just to get started in too.
And not use your money to be fixing up for you're even in the business. I mean, I think the worst thing we did was have to cut down a bush, an overgrown bush.
It's
Wasn't
true.
That's a
It's
good
true.
place to be.
Really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys talked about passive income and leveraging a third party property management company, or management company in your case. Tell us a little bit about more about that and how that really differs from what people consider to be passive income in terms of like maybe running a rental property.
Oh, absolutely. Just for the sheer distance, we knew we weren't going to be a day to day drive to Louisiana 5 hours, every week or a day or whatever. and we had to figure out how to make it true passive income. And to us, true passive income is you're getting money without working, you know. And so
Yeah.
we Matt had a great connection with this one guy who was the brother of somebody he knew at Applebee's or something like that, and we tried his out, and he's been wonderful. We haven't changed third party management companies since the whole time we've been here, been with ASAFE, and they run it for us. Now we can be involved as much as we want, so we'll at least try to drive down there every 3 or 4 months, or go down at Christmas, and bring gifts and stuff, because we also support the neighborhood. We want to support the community that we're doing business in. There's a,
Love
a
that.
public school that has a lot of kids from the ghetto and um, bad situations. And they always tell us that they weren't going to get a Christmas. And we do gifts for all of them, the entire school, pass them
That's
out. And they
amazing.
just, oh my gosh, the look on their faces. And then we try to do other things, build things they need in the school, that kind of thing. So we like to go down almost now more for that. And then seeing our business is like the kind of the side thing. It's like, because we do so love giving back and seeing that go to work. I mean, it's God's money. It's not ours. And this is what he's telling us to do.
I
Yeah, and
love
I
that.
think
That's
That's
beautiful.
exactly what we
I
think
think
too.
for us too, as Karen said, the background of the people in our third party company, they all come from public storage. So
Originally, yeah.
for us, really, I
Like
think
the company Public Storage.
yeah, the REIT. So they had that
Yep.
background. So our model was, hey, we want to run this, portfolio in a very disciplined way, the way a REIT does, public storage does, and that gives you margin to do a lot of things because they're very efficient in terms of what they do, and whether it's rate management, whether it's the point of sale process in terms of collections. I mean, we've got, data. I think we have as much data as a public storage operator would have. We can go in and look, and, our third party management companies providing that for us on a point of
Wow.
sale system. And I
Right.
think there's where you get the whole economies of scale and, and all of that.
And Matt does a meeting with them. What is it? Once a month?
If we want, but
Yeah.
we
But we
can,
don't have to. But
yeah.
Matt likes to be on top of it. He manages the third party management company. So we'll put it that
Yes.
Yeah.
way.
An
Yeah.
asset
Because
manager, as
Yeah.
we
sometimes we're
say in
not,
the
we're not wanting to sit here and twiddle our thumbs. Want to know what
Yeah.
P&Ls? Let's talk. Let's find out what's going on. The gentleman who had it before, sweet, sweet man, ran it with no computers or anything. Everything was on paper. He let his friends slide on rent and that kind of thing, and just he had it about 80% full, maybe 75% full, and our third party management company had us up super close to 100%, which is not where you want to be. You want to be like around 95 to 97. But they got it up there so fast. We were just blown away, just blown
That's
Wow.
away.
amazing.
Um,
Yeah, it's definitely important, to Karen's point, not to have occupancy at 100 because it means you're not charging enough rent.
that's
Boom.
right. Gives
Yep.
us a
Yep.
chance to make people mad and they leave so we can charge more money to the next guy.
Love
Oh,
it.
we're so terrible.
Matt, you briefly mentioned a REIT, which is, as I understand, a real estate investment trust.
Yes.
Can you very briefly describe what that is for our listeners?
Yes. And think about the public storages, the extra spaces. Those are the self-storage brands that people are used to seeing out there. And those are publicly traded companies, and they've set up their structure within their company to be an investment trust. And it pulls out a lot of costs. It enables them to really leverage a lot of taxes and stuff as well. So it really optimizes the returns of the portfolio. They do really well with dividends. Someone that just wants to get a little bit into self storage would be well served to invest in public storage. you'll get a good return. You get 20+% return on it, and you can learn a little bit about it. That's how we did it, in the beginning. And then our vision was always, hey, let's acquire things that have an opportunity to be acquired by a REIT. Because then it just makes it that much more in terms of, if a Public Storage wanted one of our properties, they would pay a lot for it. I mean, the whole thing on cap rates, that was another thing we got super excited about. Was I've never seen a clear cut valuation bonus plan on, hey, if you do this with your property, it's going to value at this, right? In terms of, and I don't want to jump ahead on just, but that was the advantage of commercial investing that we liked as well.
Because the value is based on the income. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, on the income and just a straight, cap percent. And
yeah,
oh my
right.
gosh, I mean, the ability for these things, and apartments as well. Apartments have the same,
very similar,
benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in economies of scale, like you guys mentioned, for our listeners that maybe aren't familiar with the concept, it just means that through leveraging either a syndication or a REIT, you are able to scale your money faster by investing in more doors or units or spaces versus than you would in like single family residential. So it's less work, more money, because you're leveraging a third party property management company, which you're really only able to do whenever you have a large asset. Otherwise, it financially would not make sense.
Right.
So we've really laid a good foundation for how you got into self-storage, why you love self-storage. Let's start talking about the money.
Sure.
So what sort of returns are you expected to see in self-storage space? Question number one. Question number two, how did it perform during COVID? And question number three, do you own this outright or did you syndicate this building? So first question, what are the returns that you expect to see in self-storage?
Right. When we started, she's the president. I'm her managing person. So she told me how much we needed to make when we started that. But our thought was we wanted to get strong 20+% returns.
Annualized?
With our cash year on year, that kind of return. That's a big,
I thought we were kind of over, but I thought, hey, let's overstate it and let's have that goal. Let's go there. And then boom, we're there. And it's like, oh, wow.
So the thought was that was our goal when we went into this. Hey, we're going to start this family, business, and we wanted that kind of return. And our thought was, if we wanted to go get more investors to do it, I think we could say we'll get you 10+%. Our goal was to get 20, and then you'd have room in there, so that we were always thinking that. But so we wanted to start at 20+%, and this has clearly been much. It's been stronger than that, I would say. And we're coming up on 10 years.
And I tell you, when it's that good, you're just really happy you don't have partners, because you don't have to share.
Yeah.
So
did you use?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you use leverage to purchase it, or
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
the financing?
Absolutely, and I think that's what made this thing too that much more, I think, appealing and attractive. One of the things that we learned is when you get into commercial real estate, it's less about you and your personal balance sheet and your credit scores and all that, and it's about the property and the opportunity. And so your ability to access, deals that might, because initially for us, we go, oh, this deal's out of sight for us, but we were able to go in, and I think we got it at, I think 15% of, the overall, purchase price. And then we saw it valued way beyond that. So it even sounded like a better deal. Right. So, so yes, we were able to do that. And we were able to take advantage of the owner, I think, really took a liking to Karen. Just meaning, but her marketing skills, but he was so enamored with her acting background and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if I told him his sign stinks, he was like, oh, okay.
So we go in for lunch and he has his personal banker there with the local bank, and that's who we ended up financing the whole thing with too. So it was like a little bit of a, good old boy. It's people first, deal second, all of that.
He was very helpful, and we're still in a relationship with him. When we go out there, we have dinner with him or take him out to dinner, and he talks about, hey, you think ever think of expanding? I mean, we've got some land with no storage on it, and we have the opportunity to expand in those locations if we wanted to, or we can go somewhere else and find even more of these because they're incredible. What a legacy to hand down to our kids,
Yeah.
So, and then I think did we answer the second question? The third
about
question
how it
was
performed during COVID.
Yeah. It did very well during COVID. One of the things that self-storage, that is another very attractive element is just how well it performs in bad times. And we were able to go back on this asset that we bought and look at their performance back in 07, 08. During that, there was a
stock market.
There was a depression there, a recession, and it did very well. It was up 5-6%, and that was with not really he doesn't aggressively manage rates. So
and divorces. There's a flood, bad weather. it could be anything. People got to put their stuff somewhere for a little bit.
Yeah. So we were up. The whole industry was up, I think, 14-15% last year. So that's very strong. And we were up, I think, 14%, 13%. So
unfortunately, bad things happen and we profit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because we're a transition business, People,
Yeah.
Who would have thought, there's all the things that other people have businesses and they're worried about, oh my gosh, COVID, now we have no employees and this is happening. We're doing better.
It's a needed service too.
People downsize.
We were happy. We were viewed as essential, right in the middle of COVID. Some people weren't viewed as essential, and so.
I'm seeing this happy.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that. I was going to say, I'm seeing this happy marriage between self-storage and apartments because with the housing affordability crisis, with the housing like the shortage, there's no inventory. People are leaving homes, moving into apartments, and then where do they put all their stuff from their home? In storage space.
Right.
Yeah.
So storage space and apartment buildings are so recession resistant because when people hit hard times, when the economy hits hard times, what do? They downsize and then they put their stuff in storage.
And then a big majority of those people put it on automatic withdrawal on their credit card and don't think of it again.
Right.
Then it just goes and goes.
Yeah, to your
I do want to. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, to your point on the overlap there, I often think that we are the difference between. Are you going to get that extra bedroom? You know what I mean? Do you go from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom, and then you've got your own little? No need for self storage, right? Or I'll stay in one, and you know what I mean. It's a trade off. People are, but yeah, we're both are offering huge services that are very, very important.
Right. And it's like almost magical, and it's obviously a faith-based thing for us is that God led us right to this. And I can't even imagine another industry for us to invest in that we can actually do anything we want. If we don't want to go there, we don't go there. We go to Australia. We can pick our hours. We can pick when we travel. And hey, I think I feel like having a meeting with them, get some P&Ls. Let's look it out. It's just so casual. And that's the way I feel like retirement should be. I don't want to be shaking hands and greeting at Walmart.
I was just going to say, and with the great migration from the West to the Sun Belt, like we're going to see these patterns of people being kind of, in transition, and they're going to need more self-storage in the Sun Belt until they find their home. Or maybe they're going to be in apartments too until they find their home. So it seems perfect. Maybe we should look into self-storage too.
We should definitely look into
Have
syndicating
apartments
self-storage.
and self-storage.
I think portfolio diversification is so key.
Yeah.
So,
We have the
and
two
I'm
locations out there, one in Pineville and one in Ball, which is right around Alexandria.
And flooding is not a factor for you?
Well, we have seen the maps when Katrina came out. Oh, it's going to come right up close to there, but it doesn't. And then the bad weather that comes from north of the state comes almost to the middle, but then it doesn't. We are like into a sweet spot where things just don't get that far.
It was actually a factor. We Louisiana is Louisiana, but we are at one of the most elevated spots of the state too. That was like, we like that.
We don't see flooding.
We're on the 150-year, like, shit hasn't happened since then. So we should
and we
be
learned
good.
a lot of stuff from Lester,
Yeah.
about that. And he shoots straight with us. He did take a liking to us, and I think it was really important to him who was going to take their family business. And I think he was very pleased. And so we just had lots of dinners with him. He educated us on the area. So we had that, and we had the agent to educate us on why we should go over here. And it's just like we had so many people in our pocket that were talking in our ears when we needed them to, when we needed to learn certain stuff.
Yeah.
Love that.
Matt, there's one question I want to ask you, and it's the very interesting, we've talked about this off the record before, and I just want you to quickly talk about it with our listeners. It's very interesting how insurance plays into your profits in self-storage. It's something that people don't think about. So can you quickly speak about how lucrative that is a part of the business?
Sure.
Good question.
Yeah. Part of the services that we offer for our for our tenants is insurance, for their goods and everything. And this is an example of the public storage model that we brought over that probably we wouldn't be doing if we didn't have that, awareness of. But it's this idea that we require our tenants to have insurance so they don't get in a spot where their stuff's damaged and they're gonna, maybe be looking for us, or they're just gonna feel bad about what's happened. And so we've set up a very economical, it's $5-6 a month insurance that people feel better about. Even they're insuring their things that maybe they wouldn't be insured otherwise, And when you're in the climate controlled, because almost 65% of our portfolio is air conditioned, climate controlled stuff. People are putting nice, expensive things in there,
and heirlooms, and
TVs, heirlooms, and what have you.
Irreplaceable items.
Right. So we're offering this great service for insurance, and we get a residual off of that as a percent. And I think we get more than 50% of all of that. The tenant is insured, and then we also have an offset against our overall property insurance, because when someone's looking at, hey, what would happen? We have a lot of, like, if we have a fire, think about all those little insurances that are paying off for the tenants, and then, thank goodness we've never had anything. But it
offsets your liability.
Yeah, it's a great model in there that's unique to self-storage, but could be applied in other, I think, scenarios as well. So we've really liked that, for sure.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, I've seen so much. I mean, you guys coming on and talking about your experience has been so helpful for me, and I'm sure for our listeners as well, because we're kind of just reinforcing this idea that commercial real estate's the way to go. Like Matt was saying with the cap rates and the valuation being off the income the property produces, and the ability to scale and leverage debt and not have to guarantee loans based on your own balance sheet, which means you can write off more money in taxes.
Right.
Like there's just so many
less
benefits.
volatile.
Yes.
And then recession not proof necessarily, but like
resistant.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I just see so many merits to it. And then of course there's the marriage between self-storage and multifamily, which is so important, the essential nature of it. And then also, the fact that, like you said, it is recession resistant, which is wonderful. Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing your story. It was awesome. You guys are just fantastic. So if our listeners wanted to get in touch, how could they?
Well,
get in touch with us on our email address or,
Don't we have an AC website?
Yeah, we can do that. Well, yeah.
Do you have
our
a
email
website?
Address,
Email address is, Karen at Drennan.com, Matt at Drennan.com. Very simple, just our names.
Okay, great. And we can link that in the show notes too, so that people can see below. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Wow, Andrea. Yes, Andrea, that was amazing.
I learned so much.
I'm thinking now that we should diversify our portfolio into self-storage also.
Right? We have to, I know it's a very hard, fine line between shiny object syndrome, which we've heard about, a few times. Everything sounds so good. Multifamily is also so solid though.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, we need to focus.
We need to focus. I love it. Well, great. So should we also plug our content quickly, our ebook?
Yes, let's talk about our ebook. Rachel, what's the title?
4 Steps to Financial Freedom. And you can find it on goodgoodinvesting.com. And then also we have a brand new meetup group.
Yes, can't wait to meet everybody in person. If you're in DFW, and we'll get a date out soon.
Yes.
Where we're going to have just a meet and greet, and then you guys can bring your questions and we'll have some answers for you.
And some food.
Yeah. And we'll have a good time.
And if you sign up for our ebook, you will automatically get into our email list where you can get updates on our meetup group. We will also link the meetup group page in the show notes so you can check it out. Also, it's called the Passive Investors Network, and it's hosted by us at GoodGood Investing. Well, Andrea, I think that's it.
That's it.
And we'll see you next week. And guys,
wait, tagline.
Oh, I was about to do it.
Okay,
don't you worry. I was about to do it. Guys, don't invest good.
Invest twice as good.
Bye.